So right now we are going to dismount the wheel and to open the gearbox later on in order to replace the gearbox oil. So first we have to remove the cap. $27. Can you break it, please? Release. So the 4 bolts that support the disc, one of them is the refilling bolt for the oil. You can recognize it. We will see there is a marking on the gearbox to recognize which bolt acts as a cap. There is a dot behind, we will see when we remove the disc. It means that all the other holes, those 3 are just holding the disc in position, and this is drilled through for later on refilling the oil into the gearbox. Or actually, if we have to remove the wheel for replacing the tire, we don't need to remove the disc. We have just to remove the nuts, conical nuts, that hold the wheel centered in position. Similar to a Vespa system. Oh, as you can see, there is a marking. There is also a small hole to to mark which bolt it's used for refilling. So after draining the oil and mounting it back, with the syringe we will push the new oil inside and again seal it with the bolt and with Loctite as well. This is actually the gearbox. Behind this retention plate we have a pinion that drives 3 gears that drives the main crown that is attached to the wheel. We add here into a rework of the gearbox, we drill this part through and we thread inside these magnets. So while rotating, the small dust created from the gear, it will just be retained here, and over the oil change operation can be clean and left in position. Then we can disassembly the carrier. So in case of oil replacement, just drain the oil without even removing the carrier. Just spread a little bit of oil on the O-ring and feed the cover back and screw it back sequentially to properly squeeze the O-ring. Now we will remove also the gears, just to show a little bit more. In case of a full gearbox replacement, we are not going to do it right now, it's a rare operation, but in case of particularly noisy gearbox, it's possible or to replace just the crown gear while removing those 2 bolts, and we remove the crown, the pinion and the 3 gears and put the new set, or just remove the pinion, remove those 5 bolts, and the entire gearbox came off. Then apply the new unit, tied them sequentially, always in cruise. Here it's important to respect the right torque according to the torque table in the service manual. Always apply a small quantity of Loctite, red Loctite in our case, or quite strong one, and tie them properly. Now, we are not going to replace the gearbox now, so we just have to fit the gears back in position. Now, if you are mounting back the carrier, always remember that the magnet has to be into a lower position. The originally the cover here is not true. This one was drilled through to reach the inside. So after tightening the gearbox case, with the syringe we can push the oil inside the gearbox case and then lock it with the brake rotor bolt to work as a cap and put some Loctite so it will act as a sealing. If you don't tighten sequentially those bolts, it may happen that the O-ring will came up from his original groove and may get cut while tightening and later on leaking. So just fill the gearbox with the 100 grams of oil through the hole we had drilled, or it's already drilled from factory. Okay. We are using Loctite on all those 4 bolts to avoiding them getting loose in the high temperature variation, and also in this case to seal the hole. On the one used to close the hole, we are putting all around. On the other one, just a quarter. Also for those bolts, it's important to respect the torque according to the torque table. Actually, it's visible that every bolt originally has a sign, has a marking after being tight. This is the tightening control. Each bolt, it's tight at the production, and later on another operator check the torque and mark them. So we can visually recognize that all of them, they were tight and checked. Now, theoretically, after having them tight, we should clean it and apply a new mark. This is a production process, it's not for the maintenance. But it's good to keep it, because assure that all the bolts they were properly tight and checked. Remember here that the nuts are flat on one side and conical on the other side to screw them with the cone inside. We're slightly tightening them just to center properly the wheel as they are conical, and we will tie it firmly later on. Let's apply a dot of Loctite here as well. As you have probably noticed, I'm never tightening even one bolt before having all the other fitted in position. This assures that the mechanical clearance are always maintained. Flat washer, spring washer, and nut.